All right, we have to have a green now. Yeah, okay. So I'm calling the PCOE PUSD Special Joint Governing Board meeting to order. Jen, you want to lead us in the flags?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we need to do a roll call for attendance. Izzy, do you mind helping us with that? Sure. Figure it out.
Roll call. White here. Edlin here. Harrison here. Thank you. Welcome. Keller.
Here.
Reed.
Here. All right, entertain a motion for approval of our agenda. I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right, we're gonna go to closed session. Where's that gonna take place, Jim?
Yeah. 17.
Room 17.
All right.
All right.
Then are they taking the first sentence? Are we all
Are we done? About, we get 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Good evening. We're going to get started. Thanks. Microphone, great. So we're going to get started. I'm going to use my best projected voice, but I don't have to talk a whole lot, so that won't be necessary for too long. Our first item of business is our presentation from our fiscal advisor, Robert Shemwell. I'll invite you up to the podium, and I understand your slides are behind me.
What's that?
Are we? The slides are.
Okay, yes.
Great. Go ahead.
Well, good evening, board members and members of cabinet and the community here in Plymouth.
Can you hear, Jen?
Okay. You can.
We'll do a little test check here.
Testing. Yes, I just have to have this really close.
There you go.
All right. Well, good evening, board members, members of cabinet and the community here in Quincy. So my name is Robert Shemwell. I am a consultant to the State Department of Education. I'm a former educator, I'm a teacher, administrator, CBO and assistant superintendent, retired from a school district. I'm part of a process that the state has for supporting school districts that find themselves in some form of fiscal duress. I'm going to talk about the process that you as a school district are embarking on, you as a community are embarking on. I'll have some answers, but I'm not going to have the perfect answer that's going to, that all are weighing on your mind. Just how do we solve this, right? It's going to take us a little time to work through this process. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the first slide. My primary role will be working and supporting the school district, the governing board being a support to them, the superintendent, chief business officer, and also people that are part of the leadership team inside of the school district. In this process of working through the fiscal recovery of the school district, I will have supportive interactions. I will be supporting interactions on behalf of the district with state agencies, the State Department of Education, the Fiscal Crisis Management Assistant Team, FICMAT. These are all organizations in the state, departments in the state that are here to help the school district. So, I want to let everyone know that we've got support systems in place that have already begun working on this fiscal condition for the school district. This process starts when a school district adopts a budget that has a negative certification, and that happened at first interim in December with the school district, and it triggers a number of support elements. I'm the first element that comes in play here. So I'll have you go to the next slide real quick. What we try to do on the front end is get in and understand the severity of the fiscal situation, and what the district's ability is to move toward fiscal stability. I'll be assisting and with detailing and maintaining the comprehensive fiscal recovery plan for the school district. And I just want to say that, the board is working through some current actions, possibly that may be reductions in staffing or reductions in expenditures. I think those are a good step, a good step in this process. But I can tell you, looking at the severity of the negative impact of the budget from first interim, it's going to take a little work and a little time to sort through things. We'll assist with the district in a community engagement process. So we'll help the board, we'll help the staff develop transparent processes for informing the stakeholders, the community stakeholders as we move forward. So this is a process that's going to develop over time, but we definitely want to keep the community involved with what's transpiring. And that will help provide analysis and guidance upon implementation of a fiscal recovery plan for the district. At this time, I want you to know that we've got people from the FICMAT team that are here. We're looking at your district finances, doing something that's a little deeper dive, looking back multiple years. To help size up and address just, how severe this particular fiscal financial situation is. So I can't give you a perfect number, but we're working very, very diligently within a short time, a week or so, we should know kind of the targets that we're looking at for the district. I do want to recognize at this point, it's been a pleasure working with the board and the staff in the school district on their initial efforts for helping us get started. And I'm also impressed with their willingness to look deeply at the team, their systems of practice, and the willingness to evolve processes and procedures that will support long-term improvement. As I said, you're going to go through a process where we are going to determine, how large this I guess fiscal issue is, and then we will work very diligently to come up with a plan for transitioning school district. This is the process that happens throughout the state. Districts become involved in this process, often. And we're very, very successful at moving people through it. The primary, so that's the end of the slide. Yeah, it's going looping back through. So I don't know if you have any questions, or if you have any questions of me on this. I know this is the front end of the process that you have had to dive into very quickly, but I'm happy to kind of talk through some elements if you have any questions, additional questions.
I do. Oh, this is.
I was just gonna say, if you can just explain a little bit further of the possible timeline that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, so right now, what we are doing is we're working with the team, as your budget was presented, you adopted a budget at the beginning of this fiscal year in July that changed significantly by the first interim. So there's a $3 million differential in the budget from adoption to first interim in December. Along with that, what it does is having that change in finances, it impacts the budget on outlying years. So what we're trying to do in this particular case, you were a district that was already deficit spending in some way. Your district was set up to spend more dollars than what they're receiving, and basically what was happening is that you're spending down ending fund balance or any type of reserve balance that you have in the district. So deficit spending is something that we want to work with to work with the district on correcting. But the $3 million was also part of transitioning the district into deeper negative budgets and outlying years. So there's a concern that negative is growing over time. So we will be working with you to size that, figure out how large that negative truly is, and then working with you to develop a plan to manage that, right? There as varying degrees of severity with it inside of a financial deficit for a school district. On the front end of that severity, we can work with you on, plans, work with you through kind of restructuring plans, look at budgeting aspects of the district, programmatic aspects of the district. On the deeper ends of the severity, it could go all the way to looking at requiring a state loan to help the district manage from day to day financially. If those pieces come into place, the FitMat organization that I had spoken to steps in at a deeper role. You can technically have a state administrator assigned to the school district that would replace a superintendent inside of the school district. And basically that person would also have stay and rescind rights over any decisions that the board is having. That's the very far end of that severity. So where we are in that, we're working very diligently to figure that piece out. You have a second interim that is coming up very quickly that will inform us a little bit more, but really the analysis that we're deeply combing through right now, and I hope to have information on that within a week or so, will probably guide us the most as far as moving forward and working with you.
You just talked about the deep dive that you're taking right now and that results might be available in a week, but can you go backwards and explain what you know so far about maybe some bigger things that have transpired over time that led us?
Well, you know, in all of these situations, you're not going to find one single perfect element that is the triggering effect of this, right? And it's going to be something that it's going to be multiple elements through time, right? You know, in this particular case, you had changes in leadership, right? That kind of there is one element that's inside there. You had a massive fire in the community, right? Those are another element of change in here. We've had COVID come and go, and enormous sums of money that have followed that and have subsequently left, you know, the school district's budget. So those are elements of change with inside there. You have enrollment elements that are in place. So your declining enrollment school district and managing through the decline of enrollment. We're funded on the number of kids that we have attending our school. And if those numbers are changing, it's going to decrease the revenue that's coming. Along with that, while you're looking at all these elements, what happens is it really requires districts to continually address and change over time to suit those needs so that you can stay operating with inside of the financial revenue that comes in for the school district. So we, you know, I can guarantee you we will find multiple elements through time, not something just this. What occurred in December was the culmination of decisions and operating decisions that have happened, you know, for several years, actually. You'll find that it will be over several years.
Touch a little bit more on that community transparency plan that you were talking about and what that would look like.
Yeah, well, so in this, you know, we want to be straightforward with just, you know, what it is that we're dealing with, right? It will require you to address budgetary change, operational change, right? And those are things that you want to have community feedback on. So this is very much a process that, you know, it's a community process, right? I mean, you're gonna want to move forward in a pathway of informing individuals and community just where we are inside of it. I do think it's something that's going to take some time to move through, but we'll know a little bit better as we get, you know, a scale and a scope to what it is that we're dealing with right now.
And that's my understanding that you're talking that possibly in the next couple of weeks, we'll have at least a draft idea of that.
So yes, we will have more knowledge within, you know, a week or so as to what we're dealing with from a problem standpoint. And again, at that standpoint, it's working with you, working with your staff, to be able to convey the severity of that and just what are the types of solutions that are available to us in moving through the situation. Going to require a lot of conversation and a lot of difficult decisions. I'm impressed with the turnout that I see here tonight, I have to say. It shows me that there's a lot of very, very concerned people in this community and are really supportive of the school district. So, I think you will get through this. This is a process that this community and the school district will get through. Others have been through it. It will take it one step at a time. I think this is the time to just kind of stay calm. Let's work through it inch by inch by inch, and you as a board continue to provide the avenue to address your community as we work through the process.
Do have one more question, sorry.
Sure.
So as for the report out process, is that something that you provide these kind of report outs that would come to us that we could then help share out? Or how does
The
that process?
simplest form, what happens is we work as a staff to develop a fiscal recovery plan that the state is going to be looking for, what do we think it's going to take to turn this district from a negative to a positive? And there are three budget certifications that you kind of go through. It's positive, qualified, and negative. And so we want to see the district, as we look at our financial plan and planning, sweep back through to being able to put forward positive budgets for you to adopt. And with that plan, it will come before the board for adoption. You'll have time to discuss whether this is working for the community in moving forward. So that would be the simplest end of the movement, right? Is that we're able to size this, look at it, come up with a fiscal recovery plan that's going to work. The other end of that spectrum is if we've got to size some type of loan to come into the school district, then that's a little bit more severe of a pathway to move forward. I don't know where we are in that process right now.
Thank you. Part of that microphone. I'm gonna read this and I can't let that. Okay, so we're gonna go on to public input. There's a 3-minute time limit for each person who addresses the governing board during public input. Public comments will be honored by participants attending in person or by submitting emails. I suspect many of you are on the same topic, and so we may not be able to get through all of them. It is a 20-minute limit per topic, but if somebody has a different topic, I'll set it aside. Leslie is going to run the timer for us. When we get to 1 minute, she'll hold up her white piece or her yellow piece of paper, so you know you have a minute left. And that's how we will go forward. So our first person is Julie Taka.
I'm going to start off by saying numbers don't lie. The reality of our board and administration has failed our county. The board has been complacent and negligent by accepting that the district's administrators are unqualified and have failed bringing our school district to the state of devastation. The financials and audit findings from 2021 to 2023 are unacceptable. People need to be held accountable. Not recording expenditures, unreconciled cash accounts, unaccounted credit card charges, missing or not existing personnel files, which may contain social security card numbers, etc., misclassified revenues and expenses of hundreds of thousands of dollars, not accrued, and incompetent internal control over financial reporting. There is lack of transparency and ethics. The Plymouth Unified School District website states, the main function of the business office is to ensure and maintain the financial integrity and soundness of the district. The district board and administration have clearly failed the public in substantial, documented, and repeated ways. Such a lack of action by the board and administration can only be perceived as the district's tacit endorsement of past and future ineptitude. And it is this time for a complacent board and the unqualified failed administrators to step down and resign. Mike Fine from FICMAP stated, these issues are not, they are long-standing issues. They are surfacing rapidly, but this is not new. The only person that can separate the CEO is the PCOE superintendent. Currently, those positions are held by close long-term friends. It's time for new action. That's all. Thank you.
Maria Johnson?
My name is Maria Johnson, and I have been a Greenville teacher for 21 years. I have taught first grade for the last 15 of those years. Generations of my family have attended Greenville and Taylorsville schools, and in the fall, a new generation of our family will be starting TK. I am here today to advocate for our unique, diverse community. Our valley has been through unmatched trauma with COVID and then the Dixie Fire. When our town burned down, all that was left was the grocery store and the school. Our community has been through so much, but this year we are seeing such promise with new construction and families who are moving back into the area. Our enrollment at GES continues to grow, but in order for our community to grow, we have to have a strong school that families want to attend. This year at Greenville Elementary, we have 1 teacher per grade, and we are seeing tremendous growth in our students. We have an experienced and dedicated staff who love our students and are all invested in Indian Valley. Most of our faculty attended and graduated from Indian Valley schools, and the few who didn't are just as invested. We are so grateful to be part of our students' amazing academic growth and success. If these budget cuts include elimination of Greenville staff positions, it will have a catastrophic impact on not only our school, but our community as a whole. But as our community as a whole. In the years that I have taught, about a quarter of my teaching career has been split grades. Most recently because of COVID and then the Dixie Fire. These were unusual emergency situations. I am a veteran teacher, and it is my experience that split grades are a disservice to our students. In a split grade class, there is not enough instructional minutes to provide an adequate education for our students. This would be in opposition to the PUSD core values of learning, which state we support continuous learning first and foremost as a foundation for success. Our business is founded on the proper and successful education of our students. GES teachers and staff are serving that purpose and should not be impacted by budget cuts. Thank you so much for your time.
Fiscal.
Good evening. In 2021, our governor finally did something right for our state when he assigned Assembly Bill 130 to expand the transitional kindergarten program to include all 4-year-olds by the 2025-2026 school year. This includes increasing state funding to TK through 12 schools through Proposition 98 in the amount of $3.9 billion. This includes money to reduce the student-teacher ratio from 12-1 to 10-1, which is crucial in becoming the high quality pre-K experience all children deserve. Paired with the budget increase to is the need to train and recruit highly qualified teachers with credentialing specific to the early childhood education to fully meet the needs of the smallest students in our district. And we can clearly see what happens when people who are not qualified to do their jobs. I have a master's degree in education with an emphasis in rural education and a minor in child development. I was a credentialed preschool teacher and worked in child development centers and preschools for 8 years before getting my elementary teaching credentials. I oversaw 2 child development centers get their national accreditation with the National Association for Young Children. During that time, I mention this to show how qualified we are as teachers need to be in order to take on our roles as we shape young minds in our little humans. The TK Kinder programs are vital in providing early intervention and catching students who may have potential learning challenges and need more support throughout their educational career, providing all students with a solid foundation in which their education can be built on. It all starts here. Although these programs are not mandatory to enroll, they are required by the state of California for school districts to provide to all students who turn 4 and 5 by September 1st, 2025. And they are instrumental in tackling the academic shortcomings of California's public school children and our dismal graduation rates. Our TKK program is the only program in Indian Valley to get our students ready for first grade. The state preschool program is income-based and has to deny families that make too much money, leaving families no other option except to build those foundational skills at home, which often leaves students without the ability to write their names or have letter or number identification for those families that have to work. For many families in our district, schools are a place where students get food, they get health care and social services. This is so true at GES. And that is no longer a place where we just get educated, but really a community hub for all those areas in Indian Valley. We are a family where children are safe and loved and treated like our own children, so much so that students often call their teachers mom. As a Greenville High School graduate myself, I have seen our community through split classes, populations large and small, COVID and Dixie Fire, and now at the closing of our high school, our community, our children have been through so much, and we finally seeing growth. We're seeing them soar and thrive. Making changes to GES will completely derail any progress we have made this year. Shuffling our teachers, not meeting ratios, or having less qualified teachers put in place will completely undermine the district's high fives, and the governor's want to increase highly educated graduates who are career ready. Thus doing so is a disservice to the children across the district, but even more so to the children of Indian Valley, whom have been impacted the most for the last 5 years. Please do not let GES, our teachers, our staff, and most importantly, our children suffer for the blatant incompetence exhibited by the DO. Our children do not deserve to be punished for the district's deficits. As the governing board, I implore you to take accountability for your role in our current predicament and make wise cuts that will have the least impact on our students, for which none of us would be here without.
Shannon Phillips.
Good evening, board members. I come before you tonight with serious concerns over the proposed layoffs of our dedicated teaching staff and the impact this will have on our ability to fill our district's mission, vision, and high five goals. Our mission is clear: to collectively inspire every child in every classroom every day. Our vision commits to us ensuring an exemplary education with diverse opportunities, and we accept no limits on the learning potential of any child. But the question we must ask ourselves is this: how can we truly uphold these commitments when we do not have enough teachers to reach every student effectively? Laying off teachers presents an undeniable contradiction to our mission and values. If learning is truly our foundation for success, how do we support continuous learning with fewer educators? If we believe in honoring the individuality of each student, how do we do that when class sizes grow beyond manageable levels? The teachers are stretched too thin to provide the personalized support our students deserve. If we value teamwork and accountability, how do we justify removing essential members of our team while still expecting to deliver the same level of excellence? Our strategic goals highlight student achievements, fiscal responsibility, staff recruitment, and retention, community engagement, modernized facilities, and strong leadership. However, cutting teaching positions severely undermines these objectives. Larger class sizes will make it more difficult for students to graduate with the academic and social emotional skills they need. Retaining talented student-centered staff becomes nearly impossible when uncertainty and instability drive our educators in our community away. Families and community members lose trust when they see students struggling due to inadequate staffing. Our facilities, no matter how modern, will not compensate for the lack of skilled educators in the classroom. The district's high five goals, improving literacy rates, reducing chronic absences, increasing achievement on standardized tests, boosting A to G completion rates, and ensuring students earn passing grades are all fundamentally tied to the presence of high-quality teachers. Without enough teachers, interventions become inconsistent, personalized learning becomes unattainable, and our students, particularly the most vulnerable, will fall through the cracks as they've done in the past. We cannot expect to increase student proficiency by 5% annually if we decrease our instructional support by an even greater number. I urge the board to consider alternative solutions that do not compromise our students' futures. We must find a way to balance fiscal responsibility with our core mission. Our educators are not just employees. They are the heartbeat of our schools, the members who shape young minds, and the key to turning our vision into a reality. If we are truly committed to ensuring every child reaches their full potential, we must invest in the people who guide them along that journey. As an added note, our 2023 audit shows that we are below the 55% requirement for teacher salaries. Letting go of more teachers will put us more out of compliance with state and federal guidelines. Please consider this when you come to the same realization that we, the teachers, and the community at large have already realized. The cuts need to come from other staff and not teachers. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to doing what is best.
Hello, my name is Heidi Kingdon. I teach at Greenville Elementary School. As a teacher, we must get our bachelor's degree, continue our education with a credential program where we become student teachers. Then we must pass a multitude of tests along with continuing programs within our first couple of years teaching in our own classrooms. We do this so that we are qualified to teach, and when we are hired, we are given some keys and a classroom full of faces relying on us to educate them, to take care of their social and emotional needs, and help heal their traumas. I don't know of a single teacher that can achieve all of these things in 6 hours. Every teacher I know puts in 10 hours on average a day to meet their students' needs. In addition to that, many of us come back to school over the weekend to plan and prepare for our students. We do this because we know it is our job to educate these kids and help them to live their best life, and because we care. I know that at our site at Greenville Elementary School, we have made incredible growth with our students this year, which just goes to show that our hard work is paying off. It is unfair to make cuts to the people that are working well past their paid hours for our students who are making positive changes in our students and communities. Cuts need to be made in the positions that are responsible for our budget deficits. The people who didn't do their job effectively and efficiently are the ones that should be impacted before taking away the teachers that directly work with and affect the lives of our children daily. The district office is heavily staffed, and I have taken the time to research other districts in our state with similar numbers of students that they serve. None of them have the amount of staff in their district offices that PUSD has. From a coaching standpoint, coaches do not pull or bench the players that are making good plays and getting base hits. The ones that need more practice and learning time are the ones that get pulled for someone who can get the job done. I truly can't understand how someone could morally come to work knowing that they are responsible for this shortfall, while teachers that have proven they are effective and qualified for their positions may be cut, and many of them are standing in this room. Currently, our communities do not trust our school board and their decision-making. Right now, you have the chance to change that perception. Right now, you have the opportunity to dig deeper and examine the budget, examine the true numbers, and make the decision as to what cuts need to be made and where those cuts should be made to help our district. I hope that you revisit your mission statement, your core values, and your strategic goals, which include student achievement, fiscal responsibility, and accountability when you make your final decision regarding budget cuts. Thank you.
Bridget.
My name's Bridget. I'm a para 2. I'm a librarian over at Pioneer Elementary. I'm here to express my deep concern, of course, obviously regarding the lack of accountability for those involved in this severe deficit and its mismanagement. It is especially troubling that this deficit exists despite prior training and guidance provided by the state and despite the overwhelming evidence that funds have not been properly accounted for. Additionally, certain personnel files are missing, which further exacerbates these concerns. The district office and business office have shown a troubling lack of clarity. It is clear that the business office, along with regular staff, are not fully aware of its responsibilities even after being trained. The business office has misrepresented the severity of the financial situation, lying to us all as to why. This raises the question, why have board members not been more involved in asking tough questions and ensuring proper oversight? Someone within the district office and board members themselves approved spending decisions and raises along with many other items that benefit only the DO. They were trained by the state and both parties should have known better. The lack of accountability is unacceptable. I firmly believe that those responsible for this management should resign. A full investigation is needed for the missing funds that are not accounted for, along with any of the missing employee files. The fact that the district and the personnel are compensated far more than our credentialed teachers, those who directly impact students, further highlight a misguided allocation of resources. Meanwhile, students, teachers, and classified staff are bearing the consequences of this mismanagement. Laying off staff is a direct blow to the very students you are supposed to serve. Board members, you are either complicit in this situation by continuing to approve excessive spending and allowing deceit, or you have simply failed to fulfill your duties by not paying attention to the details that matter. Either way, the result is the same. You have failed the students, teachers, and classified staff in this district. I ask why there is no formal investigation into the district. The lack of accountability is distressing, and I believe that it is time for a change in leadership. As elected representatives, you must be held accountable for the decisions you've made or you have not made, and realize those decisions is what has directly impacted our community, our students, my children. I urge you to consider stepping down from your position as board members. The trust of our students, staff, and community have been broken, and it's time for a leadership change to restore that trust and work toward a solution that to support our students, teachers, and staff, and our future. Thank you.
Dan Patterson.
Dan Patterson. I have 4 kids that attend school in the county, 2 in Indian Valley, 2 in the Quincy area. So I always have a hard time figuring out where I should sit during sport events. I visited the district school website earlier today and noticed that the mission, it has a mission, a vision and values, included a strategic plan that has been mentioned. In there, it talks about being accountable, fiscally responsible and transparent. And so I'll make some assumptions that people know in this room that teachers have been shorted about $1.5 million of pay. There's been missed income opportunities in completing a travel plan. And accounting practices have been questionable at best. I'm not going to assume that the board knows what their purpose is. And I'll remind you that you're here to represent the community and to hold the school district accountable. You approve budgets and expenditures without verifying data, which is quite obvious. Growing up, I learned a phrase called trust but verify, and it served me well throughout my career. And that's to trust the people that work for you, but to spot check them and verify that their work is correct. And so with that, I ask the board to step down and allow the public to elect members that hold the district to transparency, being accountable, and fiscally responsible. Thank you.
So that is the end of our 20-minute allotted time, unless anybody on either DK, Rebecca Skidmore, Cindy Krim, or Alicia Banning want to talk on a different subject.
They were,
I want to talk about Greenville.
Sure. Yeah, come on.
Good evening, my fellow humans. For those of you who would like to join me, I'd like to offer a prayer for all of us. To the creator of all that is, whatever name we address them by. Thank you for this opportunity of life, for this opportunity to come together to participate in our local government. Thank you for this beautiful and wonderful place where we live. Give us all the courage to ask the difficult questions, to shine light in the dark places, the courage to answer with honesty and integrity. Help us to do the right thing. Thank you. And give us the courage also to be compassionate towards one another as we look into the troubling occurrences that have happened in this district. Amen. I would just like to read the opening paragraph of the Brown Act, California Code, Section 54950. In enacting this chapter, the legislature finds and declares that the public commissions, boards, councils, and other public agencies in this state exist to aid in the conduct of the people's business. It is the intent of the law that their actions be taken openly and their deliberations be conducted openly. The people of this state do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them. The people, in delegating authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. I think one of the most troubling things in general is that while mistakes happen, it is very concerning to not hear from administrators, board members, that there are disturbing and troubling and very serious things going on. Instead, these things for years now have been swept under the rug. The public has been lied to. The public has been brushed aside, treated like we are making creative assumptions. And if the intentions are to solve these problems, then it would be nice to hear some real truths, some real information, and for the people who are responsible to be accountable and honest. Thank you.
City Crim.
Well, mine was about Greenville, you said.
Okay, you're the same subject line as.
Okay.
Alicia? Danny?
Those are about.
Yes.
Or not.
Go ahead.
I do believe we have a motion.
Okay.
My name is Alicia Banning, and I am the president of the Plymouth County Teachers Association. Last Thursday, the California State Senate Education Subcommittee met to discuss school districts who were of special concern. During the meeting, the word awkward was used by the Financial Crisis and Management Assistance Team to describe how the Plymouth County Office of Ed was fiscally sound, but Plymouth Unified School District was not. According to the FCMAT report out, the district, quote, has already borrowed a significant amount of funds from their alternative liquidity sources. So a state emergency apportion may be their only next option. For those in the room who are not familiar with that loan, an apportionment loan has only been given 9 times in 34 years, with the last application being submitted 13 years ago. In the EdSource article titled, "Which Districts are on California's Latest Financial Danger List and Why?" Mr. Fine is quoted as saying, quote, "We are very concerned about Plymouth. They've already borrowed to a point they cannot pay back, and there has been finessing of the data to make it look better than it is. I find this very disturbing, being that a positive interim report was filed in June of 2024 from this district that indicates, also for the people in this room that are not aware, that we were still solid for another 2 years financially. I have one standing question for this board. Who is going to be held accountable for the awkward finessing of our kids' money?"
That is the end of public input. We're going to move to our fiscal reporting, and I'll turn it over to Melanie.
Yeah, so all we have on, it's okay. All we have on our.
Can you use
agenda
the
tonight-
microphone so everyone can
What we have on our agenda tonight is PCOE and PUSD's 22-23 audit. The audit report was sent to you guys ahead of time to review and ask any questions. So PCOE is information only. So just seeking any questions that you have at this time for PCOE. Okay. And then the PUSD side, we are seeking approval of the year-end June 30, 2023 audit. And was there a reason it's so far that we're at 2023? Yeah, so I think a couple, well, we've been behind ever since, Dixie or COVID. When I came in, we were reconciling the 21-22, so everything is sort of a year behind, but I believed in, there were some critical pieces within the district that happened between when they finished the report in August, and then presenting at that September meeting. I think we've just had other things to take our focus away from the 22-23 audit. Did I miss that this was brought to us in September?
It was August of 2024.
So will there be another one coming?
So there will be another one coming probably as early as April.
Okay, so the 23-24 is in the process.
Yes, and then we're working right now on 24-25 initial documents that we're getting to the auditors to prepare that audit as well. So you won't notice anything. I know in the 21-22, there was an instructional person finding for COVID money. There's nothing in here that's material. This is really all just procedural and training on the back end that needs to happen.
So between that last audit and the next one, when did you say we'll see the next one?
We should be finalizing it in April.
Okay, so we'll see that. And can you talk to us about steps that have been happened between then and now to work on some of these findings?
Some of the repeated findings, different people in the positions, we had, I think in the 21, 22, and to now, we've had some retirees. There's more consistent staff in those positions now.
So these are being, I guess what I'm getting at, these are being addressed, have been addressed between that last audit and the one. that's-
Yes, and remember that it's, you know, multi-departmental care. And so the findings, you know, sending in the private, schools, their allocation of the ESSER money and things like that. Again, that's just getting the people in the positions to set reminders to send those notifications out. Consistency.
I think it would be good to have maybe more updates throughout the year.
Sure.
For the board to have more updates other than just when we get the audit report, just like have quarterly updates.
Sure.
I think that would be great.
Okay.
Given that we're this far out now, is there a problem with waiting to adopt or to accept this one and before we get the next one? I find it would be helpful to be able to compare the documents.
I mean, you can shoot, you don't have to approve.
We don't have a choice, do they?
I
Is
can't.
the state expecting this, right? But is the state expecting this at this point?
The state has asked for it, yes.
Okay.
And
So then,
And it's not like we can make any changes to
You
it.
can't
All
make
we
any
do is
changes. There's still
is
corrective
portion back
action
to it.
plans and things like that that the state wants to move forward with. In these findings, and then they work with me and my office and the other departments to come up with corrective action plans. To mitigate the repeated findings.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that with that correction plan that we could see a plan of that in May? Since we would see the audit in April for the next year, that then we can have plans available
Sure.
in May
Mhm.
for solutions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Have the board members read the 21, 22, or 22, 23 audits? Are you guys familiar with those?
yes,
Because they paint a very clear picture of the severity of the financial situation we're in. They also itemize out the steps to be taken in order to correct this. So for 2 years now, you've had in your hands the solutions, the auditor's recommendations as to what you need to do to become compliant, to become legal. And I don't hear, and so what is the plan? You've had 2 years to work on this. You've known about this, if you've read it, you've had 2 years. The audit, the 22-23 audit that just came out, and half of the red flags that are on there are repeat offenses from the previous audit. This isn't rocket science, and this is exactly the sort of thing that's really frustrating, right? No one's upset that their mistakes were made. No one's upset, or at least I'm not gonna speak for everybody else. I'm not upset, right? That we're in the situation we're in. But it's super frustrating to sit here and listen to this conversation like nobody has any idea what's going on. And we're all waiting for someone from the state to come and fix this for us when the answers are right there. Plain as day, even a dummy like me can read it. Yeah.
So which is,
So what in the world is going on?
thank you, Dan. Jim, I'm sorry, say something. Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I just would like to make sure that, like Dan was saying, is that, I mean, which I agree, which is what I was looking for, is because this is my first audit that I've been a part of association since I've been on the board, so that I would.
Hear what the board is saying. Can you guys let me know you're approving it?
It won't matter. I don't, sure.
I was just saying that, that this is my first audit that I've been, since I've been on the board, so I do appreciate that, to have an action plan, because I agree, to where we identify to be able to take this one. That's the only reason I'm making the comment before we approve, that we do have an action after this, so that we can see what's also happening in 23 and 24, to keep moving forward.
Thanks, Chelsea. So
Leslie, you made a motion, Julie, you seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You say motion.
Sorry, what was the motion?
They approve the audit.
To approve the audit is presented. All right. Any future agenda items? Nothing? I'm going to adjourn the PCOE PUSD special governing board meeting. Thank you for your attendance tonight.